Hey guys, how you doing today? Mark here. We are doing a little bit of off-season maintenance to the bike. You know, it's getting a bit cold, and so it's just harder to ride. I'm still trying. I got those muffs, and they've been working great. So I'm still getting in a few rides here and there. But today what we want to do is actually a request from a viewer named Jose, I think his name was. And that is we are going to bleed the clutch system. It's a little involved because you got to take off your shifter levers down below. I think you got to do at least one bolt of the floorboard. Then you got to also take off the alternator cover. So yeah, it's kind of involved, but it's not very hard either. So let's get into this. Keep in mind, guys, I am not a professional. I am not a mechanic. I don't work on bikes as a living. I'm just doing this in my own garage on my own bike. This is not a how-to. This is just me showing you how I do it, okay? But first thing I want to do though is I want to turn my bike, turn the bars to full lock so I can get my reservoir cover pretty level. It doesn't have to be exact, but get it fairly level. Okay guys, so this is what we need to do, okay? We got an Allen key bolt here, and your cover is all on. This is all on the left side of the bike, by the way, in case you can't tell. And so everything looks like it's Allen keys except for the one bolt for this shifter here, my toe shifter. That is a 10 mil head bolt on that. So for the Allen key stuff, I'm going to say that it's a 5. Okay, it is. All right, so let's see if this is going to work too. Okay. Whew, that's pretty tight. I don't know if I had got Allen keys sockets, you know. All right, I think I got it loose. All right, now you do have to be careful putting in and taking out these bolts because they can bind up, and I've actually broken off a bolt. I think it was actually for my toe shifter. I had maintenance done at a shop. They did not keep track of, you know, where the levers are, and that's something you got to think of. So before I take this off, I'm just trying to reference where the slit marks are on the shifters, and the height of them back here as well. So this is probably about an inch above. So the top surface is about an inch above my actual pad here, my floorboard, footboard, whatever you want to call it. And we got the bolt out, so I'm just wiggling. Believe it or not, it is moving. So as I'm wiggling, see, it just comes off right here. And will I be able to? No, there we go. Like I said, I may end up having to loosen up the floorboard just to drop it down to get these off, but yeah, that was kind of a pain in the ass. Hopefully I can get it back on easily enough. Okay, now we got to do the bolt, and the bolt head is down here, and it's a 10 millimeter, and I don't know if you guys can see, this bolt head right here is actually prohibiting me from getting my socket on. So I'm gonna have to go get my wrenches instead. Okay, so I got my 10 millimeter wrench. Oh, God, you gotta be kidding me. Can I get at it this way? Now it's upside down, so I gotta think of how it's gonna move. Snagged it on my... All right. Got it loose. All right. Got it loose enough to where I can take it out with my fingers now. All right. So now I'm going to see if I can give myself an orientation. Okay, so my measurement that I'm going to use, if I put the open end on my floorboard, on my tool here, the lever is right at the M in Craftsman. All right, so now again, we'll just wiggle this off. Now I am wiggling it back and forth like this, plus I'm also twisting it as well. Seeing if I can move it with my fingers a little bit. There we go, there's that. Dang it. I am definitely going to have to take off this floorboard now. I didn't want to do that. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to loosen up this bolt here. I'm going to remove it. And can you see my finger there? Hopefully you can see that. So here's my finger. This is the bolt I'm pointing at right down here. I think the shifter might be in your way. I'm going to take this bolt out so I can drop the floorboard down, and hopefully it'll be enough to get that out. I really don't want to have to undo this one up here. All right, got myself a nice extension. Got my 14 millimeter already on there. All right. Oh, jeez. Oh, got it though. Damn, that thing was tight. Oh, that was tight. Wow. Oh well, got it off. All right, so I may have to break this one up here towards the front just to give it enough looseness so it will drop down. So let's see if we can just break this one loose. Okay. All right, that one's loose. There we go. Now I should be able to get, yep, there you go. Nice and easy. Of course, don't forget to put your bolts back in to make sure that you don't lose them, and you don't mix them up with, oh crap, you know, which one was that supposed to be, which one was that supposed to be. So there we go, right there. And also remember that your toe shifter was the one that was furthest on, the heel shifter was the one towards the end over here. Got it? All right, so now what I want to do is I want to go around and get all these bolts here that are holding it on. I don't think there's another one hidden. Nope. So it's just 1, 2, 3, and 4. Oh, that wasn't very tight. That sounds weird too. It's squeaking like that. All right, so far so good. They're all coming off pretty well. All right, all loosened up. So the only other time I've had this cover off was years ago. The seals for the push rod for my clutch actually went out when I went out to Oregon. I started getting a little oil leak coming down, and found out it was the seals to the push rod. And I was trying to fix it myself, but yeah, doing the push rods and replacing those seals is not something that I would suggest doing on your own unless you're a very good mechanic. There must be like a rubber seal in there that I'm not remembering. There we go. We got those all off. And the reason why we had to take the pedals off, the shifters, is because this whole black area up here is all attached. And we have to get it off the rod out over here. So all this now comes off fairly simply. There we go. All right, so I can set this aside. All right, guys, so this is what's underneath that cover. Okay, your alternator is here. This is your final drive differential, whatever you want to call it. I think it's called a bevel gear drive or something like that. This silver thing right here is what we're looking at, okay? This is the slave cylinder to your clutch. Now what happens is that when you hit your clutch, fluid pushes on a rod that reaches all the way across the motor to the other side where all the actual gears are, and that allows you to release tension on the pressure plates in order for you to shift. Okay, so that's what's going on. Now this right here is your bleeder nipple, and it's going to be bleeding just like on a brake system. So we're going to take off that little rubber cover, and it is attached, so I don't have to worry about losing it. And just like a brake system, it uses a 10 millimeter. And then I'm going to put my hose on here. Now this hose is see if I can get one to, this hose here is a 3/16 size hose. So I'm going to put this on the nipple itself. Make sure it's nice and snug on there. Now I've got an old soda bottle here. They do say that you should probably put a little bit of fluid in here, but I don't know if it's really necessary. It's basically to help prevent air getting sucked up into the system. But again, if you take your time and think about what you're doing, you really shouldn't have any problems whatsoever. So I'm not going to put any fluid in there. All right, so now what we got to do is we got to get up there to the reservoir. We're going to empty all that out, same way that we did the brake system last time. You could use a syringe if you wanted to, just sit there and suck it all out. I like just using paper towels, just take your time, don't push it down in there too fast, let the towel absorb it up, and then just throw it away. That's typically all I do. All right, let's get up there and do that. Okay, so here's my reservoir right here. This is the stem to my mirror, so I'm up on my handlebars. Got 2 screws. These are not held in very tight, so sometimes they can be corroded in there. Come on, there we go. Okay, so now all we gotta do now is take off the cover. Now mine is not a stock standard cover, so if yours is, more than likely you'd also have a white plastic piece sitting here too. Because of the design of this cover, I've kind of already got it built in. So we'll take that off. We'll take off this little rubber gasket here. More than likely you're going to see either fluid or water in there. It's no big thing. We'll just set this on a paper towel and get it out of our way. Okay, I just wanted to show you real quick. While you got these rubbers off, go ahead and of course wipe them down, which I've pretty much already done it. You can do both sides. Get off as much of the liquids as you can. whether it be water or the brake fluid. Also double check your rubbers too. Make sure you're not getting any holes in it or it's wearing or anything like that. So just double check that before you put it back on. Okay, now what I want to do, got a couple pieces of paper towel. Oh, that's the end of that roll. All right, now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to slowly put this in there, let the paper towel suck up that oil. I'm keeping a very close eye on my edge over here because I don't want to push the fluid up and over. And I'm going to take another paper towel now and pull this one out. Move it quickly, wipe up any spill. Now I'm going to repeat the process all over again. That took about half the oil out. Okay, now what I've done is I've gone inside, grabbed a few Q-tips just to get anything that might be standing in those corners, like that, okay? Look down into these little areas down here. Make sure that there's nothing that looks odd in there. You know, they should be clear. Let's go around all that. Okay, now what I want to do is I got some stuff kind of built up around the edges. I'm going to take my paper toweling, fold it over a few times, stick that on a flat-headed screwdriver, and just see if I can scrape off some of that old gunky stuff around the edge here. Not pressing very hard, and I only do it for a little while, and then I move the towel so I'm not digging my screwdriver into it. I'm just using my thumbnail. See about scraping off a little bit more of that stuff. You can also use, if you're worried about scraping everything up with metal, you can also use a plastic one. Okay. I think that's pretty much all of it. That looks good. All right, guys, this is what I got for my clutch fluid. It's a 4-dot or .4 brake fluid. That's what you use. Same thing with your braking system. You use 4 dots, so it's the same stuff. Always go out and buy a new bottle. All right, I'm just gonna put a little bit in here. Okay. Want to make sure that I don't overfill it and run over the edge over here. Put the cap on your bottle. All right, something that I learned from doing my brakes last time was to make sure you cover this with something. When you pump it, some of the fluid might shoot up and out. I actually had a dribble land on my gas tank and I cleaned it up once I saw it. It didn't seem to do any damage to my paint, but if I didn't notice that, it would have definitely ate through the finish, ate into the paint and all the way down to the tank. So I'm going to take my little rubber piece here. I'm actually going to put it on upside down. That way it's not actually going into the fluid, but if any fluid hops up, it will hit that and then just dribble right back down. All right, so let's get doing the, yeah, we're into the pumping stage. Pump it up, pump it. Sorry guys, that's stupid. All right guys, I'm trying to stay out of your way so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, what we're gonna do, just like the brakes, you pull it in, you crack it open, and then you close it. And then you release. Then you put it in, crack it open, close it, and then you release. So pull it in, open, close, release. Pull it in, open, close, release. And I don't know if you can see this. Let me bring you down so I can show you this. So I'm hoping that you can see how yellow the fluid is in there. Okay, we're going to keep going until everything is clear. We also have to keep our eye on the level of the fluid in the master cylinder, because if that runs out, we're going to start sucking air into the system. We don't want that, okay? All right, guys, let's check in here. Yeah, I'm getting some wet stuff going up on there, so it's a good thing I put this on. Oh, crap. Did I? Oh, no, there's still fluid in there. Okay. I was actually thinking that I emptied out the reservoir, so I'm glad I checked it. So I'm going to pour some more in there, and I'm going to keep on flushing. Okay, got that topped off. Put my cover back on. Okay guys, I've done about 3 reservoirs of clean fluid into my system. That should be plenty to ensure that I've got good fluid going through my clutch system now. And I was like looking at the hose going, why isn't it getting any clearer? I forgot that little hose that I've got flowing the stuff out, it's actually tinged yellow. So you don't actually get to see it being crystal clear. So I am just going to clean up this little thing just a little bit. I've wiped up around the edge. So let's get the system back together. I've got stuff I got to do. I got errands I got to run. And so I need to finish this job up so I can go do those things. So let's get into this. Let's top this off. All right, so we're just gonna fill this up. About there. Oh, I dribbled some. Hold on. My bike leans over so much, so my reservoir is not completely level. So I basically fill it as close as I can or feel comfortable with this. If I wanted to, I could put some wood underneath my kickstand and try to level it off a little bit more. I'm not going to worry about it. I'll jump on it, set it up straight, and make sure that I'm at the full mark. All right, here we are. Get my little rubber gasket in there. Now, something to consider when you're filling up your reservoir is that this is different than the braking system in that as the calipers of the brakes, as the brakes are getting used and worn down and stuff like that, the calipers, the pistons in the calipers keep pushing farther and farther in, which means that it takes more fluid. It's got to fill up that space. The clutch does not do that, okay? It's got a rod, it pushes out, you release the clutch, and it pulls it back, okay? So you really should not be having any issues with your clutch fluid running low unless you have a leak somewhere. In which case, if you have a leak, you're going to know it right away because you're not going to be able to shift. There we go. That's on nice and tight. Got a little dribble there. Paper towel, just wipe it up. And go around all the edges one more time just to make sure nothing else dribbled out. All right, so master cylinder's done. let's put the bike back together. So one of the things I want to show is actually taking off the line. A lot of people don't even show that. Get yourself some paper toweling, a good wad of it. Grab the hose and pull it straight up. That way everything runs into your bottle, and the little bit that might come out will hopefully get stuck in your paper towel. Gonna wipe off the nipple real quick. Of course, pull my wrench off. Just to make sure that I got it all off. Then put your little rubber protector on, just like that. Oh. All right. Time to put this back together, same way we took it off, but in reverse order. Got to make sure that the shifter, I don't know what that's called, shifter shaft, goes through this hole right here. Just like that. Everything basically just slides into position and you should be good. And all we got to do now is start putting in our bolts. It's not easy lining up those screws with the holes on the inside. All right, I'm going to leave that one just slightly loose right now. Yep, going to leave that one loose as well. Oh, gosh, dang. Definitely don't need Loctite on these things, man. Those things are tight. Rubbing up against that rubber, whatever's inside of there. Okay, now that one is at least snug right now. Put in this bottom one. Man, this bottom one feels so tight. I'm sure because of its location, it gets a lot more grime and stuff in the threads, but still. Okay, that one's nice and snug. That one's tight. That one's tight. And that one's tight. Now, I didn't over tighten them, okay? You just really snug them up, you know, tight, but not tight, you know what I mean? It's not tight, it's tight. Okay, let's see, what do we gotta do now? Let's get our shifters on. Remember, toe shifter first. Take out your little bolt here. I'm trying to remember. Let's see, I think I said that we go up to the M in Craftsman, right? Actually, that looks pretty good. All right, so now this bolt gets fed up from underneath. That went on a lot better this time than it did my last time I used it. All right, get my wrench. I gotta remember how the hell did I do this? I think I was up like this, wasn't I? Okay. Once it's on there nice and snug, I mean, I was really torquing down on it last time because it kept on getting bound up, and that's how I ended up breaking it. But yeah, you'll feel it when it's done. When it stops, you'll know it. All right, take out this other screw. Okay, I'm gonna go about there. That, yeah. That looks about right. Okay, so that goes on. Now this one feeds downwards. We'll put that in there and screw it in. I don't want to tighten that one up just yet because I want to get this floorboard on, make sure it's in the right spot. And if I have to adjust it, I can just quickly unscrew it and adjust it. All right. Yeah, I'm going to say that's about right. Anyway, I will put in, I'm going to put these in the rest of the way. All right, nice snug fit there. Tighten up this one. And a nice grunt on that one. All right, so that means I can tighten up this because everything looks, you know, the height of this looks right. The height of this looks right. So I am going to tighten this down now. Nice and snug. See if I can get another. Nope, that's it. All right, so, all right, all done. All right, guys, that's it. We did the bleeding of the clutch fluid. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Now, you may remember me saying that, you know, don't use the old brake fluid that you've got sitting in the garage for a couple of years, okay? Go out and buy new bottles, okay? Even with the lids on and stuff, you got to remember that it's, God, what is brake fluid? It's hydrophobic, I think is what they call it. It draws moisture in, okay? It's just what it does. And even with the cap on and stuff like that, if you let it sit around, it's drawing moisture into that fluid, and you just don't want that. So use fresh, new brake fluid. Now, you saw the size of my bottle. I'm going to do the brakes as well. So I'm going to go, I got some errands I got to run for the rest of the day. But tomorrow I'm going to be right back into this, and I'm going to do the brake system. And I'm trying to figure out if I should remake a brake bleeding video. I've done it once already, but I don't know. I'm thinking about doing another one just because, well, it's maintenance time, you know, and I don't think I made mention that when you're doing your brakes or your clutch, you know, until this video, I didn't make mention in my previous video that you use a 4 dot, not a 3, okay? A lot of people, that's a standard for a lot of people in a lot of cars, but brake systems have developed to such a point where you use a 4 dot or a 4 and 5 or something like that. But for our Vulcan 1600 Classic, we use .4 brake fluid for both the clutch and the brake system, okay? I just want to make that clear. And again, I know I said it at the beginning of the video, I am not a mechanic, okay? This is my personal garage. This is my personal bike. I'm just having a go at doing it myself to see if I can do it, okay? It saves me money. How much would that little fluid change cost me at the shop? You know, having to take all this stuff off and all the labor involved. That's probably easily a $100 job. You know, we did it in what, maybe 20 minutes? All right, this is Mark saying thanks again for watching, guys. Thanks for supporting. Thanks for liking, sharing, subscribing. Thanks for your comments, even the smart-ass ones. Thank you very much, and I will see you guys on the road.